For years, it was just the two of you. Your dog knew your schedule better than you did. They knew which sounds meant dinner and which meant a walk. They knew exactly where you'd sit on the couch, and they had long ago claimed the spot next to you. The house had a rhythm, and they were woven into every part of it. Then, one day, you carried something through the front door, something small and loud and unlike anything that had ever been in the house before. Something that smelled strange, moved strangely, and almost immediately became the center of everything. You were ready for the baby. You had 9 months to prepare. Your dog had no idea it was coming. Today, we're going to step inside that experience and look at something most new parents never think to consider. Not just how to manage your dog around a baby, but what your dog is actually going through from the inside when everything they knew suddenly changes. To understand what changes, we have to understand what was there to begin with. Your dog built their entire sense of safety around the specific routines of your household. Not just the walks and meals, everything. The time you wake up, the sounds the house makes at different hours, who sits where, who comes and goes, and when. Dogs thrive on routine and the attention they receive from their caregivers. Predictability makes them comfortable and secure in their attachments. For your dog, that predictability wasn't just pleasant, it was the architecture of their world, the proof, repeated daily, that everything was okay. And for many dogs, especially those who became an only pet during years when their owners were young and had time, that routine was also built around a very high level of attention. Long walks, evenings on the couch, being the center of the household's emotional life. A drastic change in the amount of time you spend with your dog can cause jealousy and depression, which can lead to behavioral problems. This is the starting point. A dog who is deeply embedded in your routines, your attention, your daily rhythms, and who has no idea that all of it is about to change overnight. The moment your baby comes home is not, for your dog, a simple introduction to a new family member. It is a sensory event unlike anything they've experienced. Dogs exhibit intense curiosity toward newborns due to a complex interplay of sensory cues, including unique newborn sense and the powerful influence of their human pack dynamics. The baby smells different from any human your dog knows. Hormonal changes in the new mother can also alter her scent, affecting the dog. And baby lotions and powders often contain ingredients that are particularly stimulating. Then there are the sounds. Babies move in sudden, jerky ways, unlike the predictable movement of adults. They produce loud, sharp cries and gurgles that are acoustically entirely novel. For a dog, whose hearing is far more sensitive than ours, that first cry in a quiet house is not just surprising, it can be genuinely startling. Some dogs may perceive an infant as a strange mammal. Dogs that have never seen a baby may not view them as human beings. This is not aggression, it is uncertainty. The dog is doing what dogs always do when something new enters their world, reading it, investigating it, trying to understand where it fits. Most dogs adjust to the infant within a few days, while others may take several weeks. What they need during that time is not to be kept entirely away and not to be pushed too close too fast. They need time, structure, and a sense that their own place in the household still exists.
Here's where most conversations about dogs and babies stop at the surface, calling it jealousy and leaving it there. But the full picture is more interesting than that. Unwanted behaviors are likely a reaction to all the changes and the new reality and the interruption of the dynamic with the owner, not simply jealousy of the baby. Dogs don't act out for spite. It is an unconscious response to the stress of change. Think about everything that has shifted at once. The house smells different. The sounds are different. The schedule, which your dog had memorized down to its smallest details, is now unpredictable, driven by a tiny creature whose needs follow no pattern they can read. The people they depend on are exhausted, distracted, emotionally stretched. If you're having a hard time coping with the stresses of new parenthood, your dog's behavior is likely to echo your own anxiety. And the attention, the walks, the evenings together, the easy companionship has not disappeared, but it has changed shape. Going from being the center of attention to feeling left out can be genuinely difficult for a dog. Research has found that the sound of a human baby crying causes a spike in stress hormones for dogs who hear it. That's not a behavioral quirk, it's a physiological response. Your dog is not just annoyed by the crying, their body is reacting to it. They don't have the context to understand any of this. They only have what they can observe. Something has changed, the people they love are different, and their world is less predictable than it was.
The behaviors that follow are not your dog misbehaving. They are your dog communicating, in the only language available to them, that they are struggling with the transition. Attention-seeking that feels excessive, nudging, pawing, whining, inserting themselves into whatever you're doing. Dogs can show behaviors that resemble jealousy anytime their routine or perceived place in the household is disrupted. What looks like demanding behavior is often a dog trying to confirm that the relationship is still intact. Regression in house training. A dog who has been reliably house-trained for years sometimes has accidents near the baby's room or on the baby's belongings. This isn't necessarily an act of jealousy or a means to get back at you. It is an unconscious response to stress. The anxiety is real. The behavior follows. Destructive behavior. Chewing, digging, disrupting things that were previously untouched, like Oliver in our earlier video, a dog burning off stress energy that has nowhere else to go. Withdrawal. Some dogs go the other direction entirely, becoming quieter, less engaged, spending more time alone. This is grief-adjacent behavior, a dog processing the loss of the world they knew, retreating until they can find their footing in the new one. Changes around the baby's cry. Some dogs become distressed by baby's movements and noises. Aggression can arise from resource guarding, anxiety, or feeling neglected in favor of the baby. If your dog seems fixated on the crying in an agitated way, this is worth taking seriously and addressing early. The good news is that most dogs navigate this transition successfully, especially with a little intentional support. Here's what actually works. Start before the baby arrives. Desensitize your dog in advance by using a baby doll to simulate a newcomer before the actual arrival. Play recordings of baby sounds at low volume over several weeks, pairing them with treats. After the baby is born, but before bringing them home, bring some of the infant's clothing or blankets back to allow the dog to become familiar with the baby's scent first. This gives your dog a head start. The baby's smell becomes familiar before it's attached to a live, crying presence. Protect the routine wherever you can. It's important that your dog's routine is maintained as far as possible throughout the transition, including meal times, walks, and any bonding time you have together. You won't be able to preserve everything, but preserving the walk, the feeding schedule, and even a few minutes of one-on-one time daily sends a clear message. You are still here, and they still matter. Make the baby mean good things. Rewarding calm behavior with a treat when your dog is near the baby will change their perspective and their habits over time. Every time you feed the baby and give your dog a treat at the same time, you are building an association. Baby's presence equals something good for me. This is one of the most powerful things you can do, and it costs almost nothing. Give them their own space. Provide your dog with a spot, a bed, a corner, a room, where they can withdraw and feel safe when the household gets overwhelming. This is not banishment, it is dignity, a place that is theirs, where the unpredictable noises and movements of a newborn can't reach them. And know when to ask for help. If your dog's behavior around the baby involves fixation, stiffness, growling, or anything that concerns you, don't wait. A visit to an animal behaviorist doesn't mean you have a bad dog. It is simply a method to make this major adjustment easier for everyone involved and to prevent any harm.
The families that come through this transition most smoothly are not the ones whose dogs simply tolerated the baby. They're the ones where the dog was given time, structure, and the continued sense that they were still part of the story, just a story that had grown. Your dog doesn't need the world to stay exactly as it was. They're more adaptable than we give them credit for. They just need to know that the people they love still see them, still choose them, still come back. Give them that, and most of them will do something remarkable. They'll grow up alongside your child, and one day, not too far from now, you'll look over and see your dog and your toddler sitting side by side on the floor, and it'll be impossible to imagine one without the other. That's worth the transition.